The BMF Championship main event. Dustin Poirier coming in at minus 140. Justin Gaethje sitting at plus 110. Over under 2.5 rounds. Minus 120 for the over. Minus 110 for the under. Both men extremely similar. 34 years of age. Justin Gaethje got a couple inches of height. Don't know how accurate that is, but either way, that's what it shows. Last 5 for Gaethje, 3-2, and Dustin Poirier 4-1. Both men only losses in a very long time are to Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira. Very similar spots. I mean, this is like you can't really pick two guys that are that similar. And in this one, we all know what we're going to get. We're going to get complete carnage. Dustin Poirier is going to come out throwing hands. Justin Gaethje is going to come out throwing hands. I wouldn't expect Dustin Poirier to be shooting takedowns. Could he? He could. I really don't expect Justin Gaethje to be shooting takedowns, but Poirier probably going to have a slight grappling advantage, maybe more so with the submissions, but both guys are going to throw hands. That's what they did in the first fight, and I don't expect anything different here. But what side are you going with?
Dude, it's almost impossible to find, an area either one of these fighters is going to be better than the other one at. I think Dustin Poirier all around is going to be a more controlled, composed fighter. Even though he does, like you said, he brings it. He throws hands from the get-go, but it's more of a controlled violence versus Justin Gaethje, who's out there just swinging, throwing haymakers, and it's worked out for him in his career. But against guys like Dustin Poirier, who can kind of weather that storm and who can hit you in the midst of all the chaos, that's where I see Justin Gaethje struggling. I mean, like you said, both guys are so similar. Both guys have lost to the same people. They've been submitted by the same people. I mean, both guys are 34 years old. I mean, it's crazy. It's hard to find that discrepancy on one side or the other. But at the end of the day, I got to lean Dustin Poirier. Just this style, like he's been in these fights. Dan Hooker, for instance, that was a fight on the feet that was just an absolute all-out war, and he was the one who came out on top. Dustin Poirier is hard to put away at this stage in his career, but he can finish you. So we've seen Justin Gaethje be finished by him before. The one thing, though, that I keep going back to is in Justin Gaethje's last fight against Fiziev, he had that crazy style at times, but he was way more composed than he usually is. He was a little more, I don't know if I would say relaxed in there, but you could just tell he wasn't really interested in just going, crazy and brawl with a guy like Fiziev. So if Justin brings that into this fight, which is going to be hard to do because you've already lost to the guy, you know what the last fight was with him. I see it being the same, but for him, if he does bring some of that into this fight, it gets pretty interesting in my opinion. But I got to stick with Dustin Poirier here. I'm a Dustin Poirier fan. I'm a Justin Gaethje fan, but from what we've seen in the past, I think this style of fight suits Dustin Poirier just a little bit better.
Yeah, obviously won the first matchup between them, and I kind of lean Poirier in this one as well too, just for all the facts that you just stated. The only thing that's kind of throwing me off a little bit is that it's going to be at Salt Lake and at elevation. I know I made a video on it. I don't know how much you have to take that into account going into this one, but there's always that lurking in the back of my mind. That's like, if it goes, round 3, round 4, round 5, Poirier has shown to be like even stronger in those later rounds. I mean, he got the round 4 finish against Gaethje the first fight, but in this one, it's a little bit different. I don't know if we're going to get a different outcome, but obviously the variables are different going into this one. So that's the thing kind of like keeping me away from going Poirier confidently. But I do think at this point, Poirier has looked a little bit better as far as against his competition. Like Gaethje, there's a good case that you could make that Fiziev beat Gaethje. Like you go back and watch that fight, rounds 1 and 2. I thought Fiziev won round 1. Round 2 was pretty close. Could have went either way. Round 3, Gaethje took it. But yeah, I mean, if Fiziev beats Gaethje, like we're not having this fight, and Gaethje's probably looking, he's on a 2-fight losing streak then, and who do they match him up with next? For Poirier, you could make the same case. I mean, if he gets finished by Chandler, obviously he didn't, but he was not. He could have lost that fight. I mean, it was 1-1 going into the third. He gets taken down and then finds himself up on top and then gets the scramble and gets the submission. So the way these two fight, like they're not ever going to it doesn't seem like they're ever going to dominate someone because they're taking shots. They're giving shots. They're just in wars. And this one's going to be a war. the thing that I think could play the biggest factor is Poirier's jiu-jitsu, just because Gaethje, look at his losses. He's losing by submission. Granted, it's to Charles and Habib, but Poirier's got a number of submissions on his record. He's got really solid BJJ. We just saw it in his last fight against Michael Chandler. If you can wear out a guy like Chandler, you can wear out a guy like Gaethje, and maybe you find yourself on the back, and Gaethje just doesn't have the presence of mind with how tired he is, with how much he's been beaten up to, defend the neck, and Poirier can slip something in. So, yeah, I'm going to go Poirier. I'm going to keep an eye on that submission prop just moving forward, because I think that's a possibility. If it's juicy enough, might have to play it. But like I said, elevation, Gaethje could take over late if Poirier's not ready for it.